Today is our 1-year anniversary of full-time RVing across America.
Knowing what we know now, we're going to share with you our lessons learned, our biggest mistakes, and our plans for 2020.
Welcome back to the RV Odd Couple. My name is John.
And I'm Mercedes. Long story short, we sold most of our possessions in pursuit of freedom, independence, and adventure.
Because life is so short.
It is. And in this video, we're going to share our 1-year lessons learned.
Yeah, it's been one hell of a year, honey.
It really has.
We left Florida 1 year from today in 2018. We made a big, huge loop around the country. We just arrived back in Florida last week, and we kind of hobbled in the last couple of months. We are really excited that the first year is over. It's
the end.
The end of the beginning.
One of the biggest realities that we've come to learn is that life is understood backwards and lived forwards. And say what you want, but oh my gosh, this year, as hard as it's been at times and as much as we've had moments where it was like, what are we doing? It's also the year that we have lived. I mean, no regrets. You lay it all out there because you took a leap of faith and took this adventure, and this is just a once-in-a-lifetime journey that we will never forget.
Yeah, it's been incredible highs, some pretty low lows.
So get out your notebooks because we're going to go over RV security, important information for buying an RV, ways to save money when you're traveling, and ways to beat the blues and beat the wall that we've encountered. And our last one is going to be the one that we have struggled most with.
Yeah, these are all things that I would have liked to tell myself 1 year ago before we hit the road. So the first thing I would have told myself last year before I took my family out on the road RVing would have been to change all the locks in the RV. We actually did a video where we showed you that the keys that you get with most RVs fit everybody else's RV. Both the main door coming in the house and all the compartment and baggage doors. I would have had more lights installed around the RV to light this place up at night if I ever needed to. Always make sure that you have your keys in the house with you so that you can let off your emergency alarm fob. It's also very, very important that you have a plan for wherever you're hitting the road and going. You need to study different state laws as far as firearms go. If you're not licensed, get licensed, but definitely do your homework ahead of time. These are all things you really got to consider. Make sure your RV is secure.
The next mistake that we're going to talk about, but most importantly focus on the lessons learned, is focus on buying an RV.
It's so important, especially if you've never RV'd. You want to go into every possible RV that you can. Class A's, Class B's, Class C's, trailers, fifth wheels. Look at all your options. So once you know the rig you want to pick out, then go ahead and shop it. Shop it to many different dealerships and never be in a rush. When it comes to RVing, never ever hurry anything, any part of it. Go slow, take your time, think about it 2, 3, 4 times. And then that's when you pull out the checkbook and let them fight for your business, because they will. These things never sell at retail, typically 20 to 30% off retail. So take your time, go slow, and make a great decision.
And before you buy anything, make sure you get an inspection. Shop for your own warranties. You can buy your own warranties for your RV. You can buy your own roadside assistance. It's much cheaper that way, so do not roll it into one.
Yeah, you'll save about 60% on warranties if you go directly to those companies. Don't buy any warranties through the dealership. And finally, don't take the RV off the lot until everything is finished. Once you drive off that lot, it is yours.
Yep. The next thing is probably the thing that we've struggled the most with. This is the hardest by far for us. This is work-life balance. And here's the interesting thing that happens when you're in an RV. You know, you have this image of a nomadic work lifestyle where you see the laptop and you're in this beautiful beach. That's a lie, okay? You're inside your RV online. Okay, that's what it really looks like. And if you have a job that's a 9 to 5, at least you get to shut the laptop and close it down. Well, we started a new business.
We started a new business, so we were having the learning curve of learning how to RV, and then we started a YouTube channel, which exploded, as you guys know.
Yeah.
And so we've been working 70, 80 hours a week since we left, and there has been no work-life balance. It's been exciting. Mercedes is going crazy that we don't have any type of a routine. But one of our goals in 2020 is to get a work-life balance. The other thing I would suggest is don't think that you can just go out on the road and figure out a way to make money. You have to have a plan. We gave ourselves 1 year of doing YouTube to see if we could make a living at it. We had 1 year of money in the bank when we set out. We've actually exceeded the goal that we needed to have to pay our bills, so it has worked. But I can't imagine going out full-time RVing across the country and thinking that I was going to figure out somehow to make money. It's just not going to work. You know, if you are at a job and they would consider doing remote work, you being on the road, that's fantastic because at least you know what your income is. You can set a budget. But don't just head off into full-time RV life.
Into the sunset.
With your computer and think, I'm going to figure this out as I go. We've seen people destroyed because of this, and we don't want that to happen to any of you.
And the other thing, this is going to sound silly, but you have to schedule your play. Because travel days can be so intense, you can't count the travel day as a play day. You can't count the day before or after the travel day as a play day. So you really have to schedule, if I work this time, I'm going to take off on this time. I'm going to go to this place, do that kind of research. But just as you schedule your working time, you have to schedule your play time. Otherwise, you won't ever play. And even little things like going outside to have lunch instead of staying inside the RV, making it a picnic outside on that picnic table, little things like that will make your happiness like quadruple because it's so easy to stay isolated and stay inside the RV.
Especially when you have work and you never catch up with work.
And so really it's about that balance between rest and play. The next mistake that we made had to do with our drinking water. And we consider ourselves to be intelligent people despite what you may be thinking right now. And we didn't even consider the fact that since we're traveling to different locations, we had to be prepared to filter our water for all these different needs based on all these different geographical locations.
When I saw they had an onboard Camco whole RV water filtration system, I thought that was amazing. I thought I was getting double protection by putting on the hose filter. This is what I was thinking. But once we started seeing the discoloration in our bathtub, in our sink, and I changed that filter for the very first time, I immediately started doing research on water and what was going on. And what I found was horrifying. So we went ahead after doing a ton of research and we put a full 3-filter system on the exterior of our RV. And we've got a Berkey water filter that we absolutely love.
But don't do what we did and wait 6 months before you really get clean water.
Right. We have no idea, but for 6 months, we were the filter, including our kid and our dog.
The next mistake that we made in our first year of RVing was regarding our community. Now, we consider ourselves lucky that we have the RV Odd Squad, so we weren't alone, but it is incredibly isolating when you're traveling on your own. And the earnest is really on your shoulders to get out there and make friends with people.
Exactly. Get yourself involved. Go to church once a week. There's some amazing little churches that we've came across.
And it's one of the things that whether you create a virtual community, don't forget to create the face-to-face community. But it's by far the best part.
It is the best part.
Okay, so this mistake is embarrassing. I swear we're not idiots. We really aren't idiots. But
sometimes we're idiots, but not on this one.
Well, it's just, at least we're admitting this because most people don't admit their mistakes, and we do. And so one of the things that knowing what we know now that we would do differently is we would check the weather more often. Because we assumed that the South is hot. And that's not true. It snows in the South. It snows in Arizona. I've seen it for myself, trust me. And the other thing, knowing what we know now, we would have considered elevation. Because higher elevations are much colder. And I know that most people know this. But it's just we didn't consider that. We'd try to get warm and we're like, oh yeah, we're going to California. All of California will be hot, right? And then we go to the mountains where it's cold. So you got to think about these things, And don't throw away your winter jacket. At least we didn't do that one. Yeah. But the other thing, check the weather when you're driving to places. Check the weather where you're at and check the weather where you're going. It might sound silly, but it will save you a lot of heartache.
We've just been so busy we never checked the weather. I mean, we just never ever did it.
So check the weather. The next mistake that really hurt us was that we moved too fast.
Way too fast.
We took, I don't know, maybe it was 9 months to go from North Carolina in a big U shape all the way to California. And then in 3 months, we did the same number of states on the top. So don't do that. And what we mean by that is, you know, for us, and everyone's different, with a child and with our setup and with our work hours, we know that we need to stay in one place longer.
We know now that when we start traveling next year, each place is going to be at least 3 weeks. 3 weeks is what's comfortable for us.
And, you know, people don't talk about this enough. It's called travel fatigue. I was embarrassed to kind of admit it, but travel fatigue is real. We did the 1,300 miles in like 2 or 3 days, the 1,200 miles in 2 days, the 1,100 miles in 2 days. That's way too fast.
Big mistake.
It's big mistake. So knowing what we know now, we would only travel like that if there's a funeral, if it's like life and death. Because if you don't travel like that for a funeral, you'll be going to your own funeral.
Right. Don't do it. I mean, we pull a 65-foot rig when we're attached. That's stressful, right? And I got my family in the car.
And you're like this.
You know, moving 1,300 to 1,400 miles in 3 days is hard. It's too hard. We shouldn't have done it. We know now that we've done this for 1 year. We know what our limits are. It makes us better RVers for next year. We think we made absolutely every single mistake that you can make when you full-time RV. And thank God for the RV Odd Squad, because they're really you guys are the ones that taught us how to RV. Now we're going to move into our sophomore year. We're so excited about what's coming in 2020. We're hoping to meet tons of you guys out there. We plan to relax a little more and enjoy the RV life. And we're going to share more of our life and the places that we visit outside with you guys.
The best way to describe it is that our first year was kind of a slow motion car accident. And now year number 2 is going to be something different.
We promised you guys we were going to share all of it, and that's exactly what we did. Now that we know how to RV, we've got some incredible series that we're putting together that are going to teach newbies how to RV. So we're going to teach you the things we wish somebody had taught us before you head out.
You do need to make sure you click the bell for notifications because we're changing our release schedule. We are going to be switching things up when we release videos. So if you don't have the bell and you're not clicked to get notifications, you might miss something. Seeing as how you enjoyed learning what we learned the hard way, in the next video, we're going to share with you the upgrades that we love, the ones we don't care for, and the ones that, knowing what we know now, we wish we had.
We'll see you in the next video, guys.